Are we live? Are we live right now? It's Thursday already? Did I fall asleep? What? Are we live? Wait, what? What's going on? Rey movie? Cancelled? Wait, what? Wait, Dawn of the Jedi canceled too? Wait, what? This can't be true. What's going on? What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. We got a lot to talk about today. Now, these movies are not canceled. Not yet, at least. We are talking about whether or not they will be canceled because of the firing of Kathleen Kennedy, who, again, has not been fired yet. Now, we are still waiting on the fantabulous news that she has been fired, but up until this moment, we know that she is not fired. Kathleen Kennedy still works for Lucasfilm somehow. However, we are going to be talking all about this Rey movie, the new Jedi Order movie, and the Dawn of the Jedi movie that is supposed to be directed by James Mangold that were both announced at Star Wars Celebration. We're going to speculate on whether or not these movies are still going to get made, and especially if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired. And we're going to talk about some Ahsoka speculations, Ahsoka, when we're going to get the next trailer for Ahsoka. And it's time to start getting excited for the Ahsoka show. It comes out on August 23rd, and it's like, what, June 6th? Or July 6th, I mean? It's right around the corner. Ahsoka is right around the corner. So buckle up, smash a freaking like on this video, and let's get right into all of this. So I'm going to put up a poll right off the bat. Let's do that right away. And this poll is going to say, and I quote, here we go. Do you think, or let's put it this way. Let's put it differently. If Kathleen Kennedy, that is, if Kathleen Kennedy is fired, will the Rey movie be canceled? Is that how you spell canceled? How you spell canceled? Somebody help me out, please. How you spell canceled? Whatever. If I misspelled it, that's too damn bad. Yes or no? You guys tell me in the chat. What do we think? What do we think? If Kathleen Kennedy is fired, will the Rey movie be canceled? Now, neither of these things have happened. Kathleen is still working for Lucasfilm somehow. Now, I think what they're doing is they're waiting to see how Indiana Jones does in its second weekend, and whether it performs poorly or kind of gets back around to performing great. Then they'll see if they're going to fire Kathleen Kennedy. I've also heard other reports and whispers that she's already been fired, but nothing has been confirmed just yet. So I guess what's up, says affirmative, Mike. Austin Snow says no one even likes the sequels. Well, that's where you're wrong, Austin. There are many people that like the sequels. Myself is not included. Here's the thing. I like The Force Awakens. We talked all about this on Tuesday. I like The Force Awakens. It's a solid movie. What the other two do to The Force Awakens story arcs is just a disgrace to Star Wars. And we can talk all about that in a little bit when we get into this Rey movie and why it shouldn't happen. But as of right now, Kathleen Kennedy still works at Lucasfilm, and this Rey movie is still happening. However, a lot can change. Logan, what's up? Logan says, I have no clue. Well, what did you vote for then, Logan? Right off the bat, we are at 67% of you guys think, yes, if Kathleen Kennedy is fired, there goes the Rey movie with it. With her, I should say. And that is very interesting. That's very interesting to me because, first of all, Kathleen, of course, okayed the Rey movie. But if she gets fired and the Rey movie goes away too, then what is going to fill that slot? This Rey movie is supposed to be the next movie that we get. The next one. The very next movie we see as Star Wars fans on the big screen is supposed to be Rey's new Jedi Order, 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. So if that gets canceled, is there going to be another movie to fill its spot? Now, you could say they might push up Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire movie, but what if it's not done in time? Or if they do push that up, is the Dawn of the Jedi movie still going to be made? Here's my second question for you guys. I'll keep that poll up for now so we can just get it with a few more votes on it and see where the majority is at. But here's my next question for you guys. If Kathleen Kennedy gets fired because of Indiana Jones bombing so bad, we know what else she did. She ruined the sequel trilogy. She ruined Willow, and now she's ruining Indiana Jones. But the reason she will be fired is because the Indiana Jones movie performed so poorly. If that is the case, will the director of Indiana Jones 5, James Mangold, still get the Star Wars movie he was announced to get at Star Wars Celebration this year? It was supposed to take us back all the way to the beginning of the Jedi, 25,000 years before the Phantom Menace, and explore the origins of the Jedi, people discovering the Force. It would be called Dawn of the Jedi, or at least it would take place in the time frame called Dawn of the Jedi. Now, if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired, is Dawn of the Jedi going to get canceled? Is James Mangold going to lose his movie? We've seen this many, 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 many times before in Hollywood. Look at Taika Waititi as the probably most recent example. Taika directed Thor Ragnarok, which was an absolute banger. And if you're a Marvel fan, I'm sure you know that. But Thor Ragnarok came out and was a huge success and pretty much boosted Taika Waititi up like 10 notches in Hollywood. This led him to be on the set for The Mandalorian. This led him to be directing multiple episodes of The Mandalorian, directing all these other things, getting all these different projects. When you make something good like Thor Ragnarok, your name gets out there and then you get projects. He was also announced to get a Star Wars movie. Fast forward to last year, after Thor Ragnarok, last year, Thor Love and Thunder releases the sequel, or the fourth movie of the Thor franchise, but the sequel to Thor Ragnarok. This is Taika Waititi's second Thor movie, following up his huge hit in Thor Ragnarok, and Thor Love and Thunder was a disaster, like an absolute disaster. And I don't know if you guys are Marvel fans, but I'm sure you can back me up on that. Whether or not you liked that movie, it was a disaster. And it was too goofy. It was tried to do too much. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. And what happened was Taika Waititi was rising the ranks in Hollywood very, very quickly, got a Star Wars movie, got on the Mandalorian set, all this, that, and the other thing. And then Thor Love and Thunder comes out, and almost all talks of Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie grind to a halt. And whenever they talk about it, whenever Kathleen's asked about it, whenever Taika Waititi is asked about it, they just come up with some gloob, glob, globbity, gloob nonsense to back themselves up, to give themselves more time to figure out if people are going to be okay with Taika getting a Star Wars movie. With that being said, this is almost the exact same thing going on right here with James Mangold. James Mangold is a fantastic director. He directed Ford versus Ferrari. He directed Logan. He is a great director. However, Indiana Jones 5 is his most recent project, and that is bombing miserably. How in the world is Kathleen Kennedy going to get fired for Indiana Jones, and the director of Indiana Jones 5, James Mangold, is not? And even if he isn't fired, there's no way that Disney's going to be like, hey, that guy did such a terrible job on Indiana Jones, let's give him a Star Wars movie. Even if Kathleen Kennedy is fired and there's new leadership, James Mangold's movie might be canceled as well. What do you guys think? Do you think James Mangold's movie's getting canceled because of Indiana Jones flopping so bad? I wanted Dawn of the Jedi really badly, especially directed by James Mangold. He's a fantastic director. Going back to the origins of the Jedi, that is so hype. That sounds amazing to me. But he just bombed Indiana Jones. He's the only other director other than Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg did all of the first 4 Indiana Jones movies, the first trilogy, and then he did Crystal Skull. He's the first other director to touch Indiana Jones, and it bombed. What do you think? Swagger Like Us says, the worst part about having Kathleen Kennedy as Lucasfilm president is the blatant disregard for the fan base. Case in point, nobody wanted an Indiana Jones 5 and a Willow TV series on Disney Plus except for Kathleen herself. It's very true. She is so out of touch that it's just terrible. It's so bad. She needs to be gone, and we need somebody in there, a.k.a. Dave Filoni, a.k.a. Jon Favreau, a.k.a. Doug Chiang, a.k.a. somebody else in the seat of president at Lucasfilm so that we can get people who understand the fan base, who understand what's going on. Because like Swagger says, nobody wanted an Indiana Jones 5. Not a single person, maybe except for Kathleen Kennedy and possibly Harrison Ford, wanted an Indiana Jones 5. And that's clear. Even the fans didn't want it. Nobody's going to see this movie. It's making little money. Very little money. Doesn't matter if it's a good movie or not when it bombs. And Willow is just a whole nother disaster. Willow is just, whew, yikes. Willow is its whole other thing. That was a show that was put onto Disney Plus back in November, 8 months ago, and has been already taken off. Swagger says, I agree, Mike. Speaking of Logan, it was awesome, especially as a 90s Marvel fan from the X-Men and animated series era. Oh my God, Logan is a fantastic movie. Yeah, don't even get me started on Logan. Logan's awesome. Logan is fantastic. And if anybody's a Marvel fan and follows Marvel leaks, oh my goodness. Have you seen those Deadpool 3 leaks? Whew. Wow. Deadpool 3 is going to be insane, especially if you're an X-Men fan. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about this Rey movie. So the Rey movie, in its conception, is a horrible idea. Like probably the worst idea that Kathleen Kennedy has ever had. Seeing how she created the sequel trilogy, that is saying something. Here's the thing. The sequel trilogy completely divided the fan base. We know this. We live in this fan base. We all know this. The sequel trilogy is a disaster. Austin was first in today and literally says no one even likes the sequels, which is not true. There's a lot of people who do like the sequels. However, going to the sequel trilogy as your next Star Wars movie, the first Star Wars movie since the sequel trilogy, is the stupidest idea that has ever been conceived, and she should have just been fired based off of that idea. They should have been in the boardroom, and she should have been like, oh, let's go back to the sequels. Kathleen, you're fired. Not to mention the fact that it's 15 years after Rise. Not even like 100. It's 15 years after Rise of Skywalker. It's focusing on Rey, and it's directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. And if you guys know anything about her, that would surprise me because she has done nothing. She did 2 episodes of the Miss Marvel show, which bombed. So she has clearly no experience, and especially no experience with Star Wars. So yeah, let's have her direct our next Star Wars movie. Let's not have somebody who's experienced like Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau or Bryce Dallas Howard or Deborah Chow, somebody who's been around Star Wars for a long, long time. Let's bring in this nobody who has zero experience, not only in Star Wars, but in film at all. It's a disaster. Logan says, I can't wait for Deadpool. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds together in an X-Men? Yeah. It's going to be good. It's definitely going to be good. And the spoilers, if I won't say them because I know people like to avoid spoilers sometimes, are wild. Like, think Multiverse of Madness Illuminati scene times 1,000,000. Back to the Rey movie. So, let me just put it this way. Are you going to see the Rey movie? Let me ask you guys. Are you going to see the Rey movie if and when it comes out? If it comes out, let's put it that way. If the Rey movie comes out in 2026, in May of 2026, are you going to see that? Are you going to take time out of your day, take that hard-earned money you've made to go see the Rey movie? What do we think? What do we think? Are we going to see the Rey movie? Swagger Like Us says no. Here's the thing. Here's my take on this. The Rey movie. All right, here we go. I am a Star Wars fan. If you guys didn't catch that, I am a Star Wars fan. Did my shirt give it away? Did my background give it away? Did the fact that I am on a channel called A Guy Who Loves Star Wars give it away? I'm a Star Wars fan. So as a Star Wars fan, I feel obligated to go watch it. And I feel as though, just because, like Logan says right here, I'd watch it because it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars, so I'm going to go watch it. And I think myself and Logan are probably in the majority here when it comes to the Star Wars fandom. I know there's a lot of people who are like, no, I hate the sequels. And a lot of people are probably like Swagger, who's probably not screaming as much, who's saying, no, I'm probably not going to go see the movie just because it's a Rey movie. I didn't really like the sequel trilogy. He probably has a level-headed mind. I don't know. Maybe he's yelling at the screen. Who knows? But I think the majority of casual, normal fans, not that me or Logan are casual or normal people, but the majority of us are probably going to see it just because it's Star Wars. That's what Disney has kind of figured out. The Force Awakens made boatloads of money, $2 billion something. Because it's Star Wars. It could literally have just been Luke Skywalker sipping a bowl of soup for 2 hours, and Star Wars fans would have went and saw it because it has the title of Star Wars. With all that being said, it is Star Wars. Even though it's sequels, even though Rey's name is on it, even though Kathleen Kennedy's name is still on it, myself, Logan, and a bunch of other Star Wars fans are all going to go see it because it's Star Wars. Now, of course, I'm sure Logan will even agree with me. We want it to be good. Just because it's Star Wars and we're going to go watch it, we want it to be great Star Wars content. And the fact that Rey was just so mishandled in the sequel trilogy doesn't mean that she could be fixed in this next project, but the names behind this project don't give me any kind of motivation to think it's going to be good. Charmino Becino, Kathleen Kennedy, no Dave Filoni, no Jon Favreau, no George Lucas. It's a recipe for disaster. Now, most people will go see it. It might make a lot of money because it's Star Wars, one of the biggest IPs on the planet, but it might not be good, which is not good. Logan says, hopefully there's more blue cereal. Oh my God. All right, put in the chat, are you an Andor fan? Tell me in the chat right now. Everybody, are you an Andor fan? Andor fans, I'm calling out to you. Andor fans. Andor fans, are we there? Oh, look at crickets in the chat. Interesting. I'm convinced. All right? The further and further we get away from the Andor show, all right? I liked the Andor show as it came out. I did. I really did. It was enjoyable, entertaining, and week to week, I liked it. So I guess says Andor is a classic. Here's the thing. The further and further I get away from it, and maybe it's because I haven't watched it in a while, the further and further I get away from it, the stupider and stupider this show seems to me. Hear me out, okay? Almost half of the show is just this guy named Cyril eating cereal. Yeah. Enough said. No, I'm just joking. Andor's a good show. It's quality. Luthen is one of my favorite characters now, by the way. It is a slow burn. It is building up the rebellion. It is kind of a different look when it comes to Star Wars. But it didn't have to be 12 episodes. It didn't have to focus on Cereal Bar Boy. And it didn't need half of the scenes. It didn't. It never should have focused on anybody except for Luthen, Mon Mothma, and Cassian. The whole Cereal Bar Shrill thing will still, I'll take it to the grave. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So yeah, that's my take on Andor. Logan says, yep, loved Andor. If you're not, look at it as another way to look at Star Wars. No, I totally get that. And I get that it's a different way to look at Star Wars. I get that it's a different vibe when it comes to Star Wars. There's no Force, there's no lightsabers, this, that, and the other. And I liked the show. However, just kill off Cereal Bar Shrill. That's all I ask. Kill them off. That's my one goal in season 2. We're going to do watch parties, of course. We're going to do watch parties for Ahsoka. We're going to do watch parties for Skeleton Crew. We're going to do watch parties for Acolyte. We're going to do watch parties for Andor. And hopefully, my one goal watching Andor is just to see Cereal Bar Shrill die. Sorry. Just had to happen. It had to be done. He was too powerful to be kept alive, honestly. Honestly. All right, let's get into this article right here that I got pulled up. Wait, what the hell? Fair point, though. See, even Logan, who likes Andor, loves Andor. Love is a strong word. Loves Andor, even says that I'm right. Because I'm never wrong. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, I am never wrong. Never once. In my life have I ever been wrong. True story. Look it up in the dictionary. All right, let's get into this right here. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. How about this? Well, first of all, Ahsoka is trending on Twitter, which is nice. Andor was actually trending a minute ago. Where was this thing? Oh, here we go. I retweeted it. Here we go. Let's take a peek at this. So this is Josh from the Den of Nerds. Anybody know who that is? He's quite entertaining, I must say. Watch him a fair amount. But he always says, if it bombs, she gone. And he's talking about Indiana Jones. And it did bomb. But here's what he heard. I'm not confirming anything. But I did hear some good buzz yesterday. She might really be gone this time. Now, this is not the only source I have for this. Josh actually has his own sources, of course. But when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy being fired, the amount of talk there is online, on Twitter, on all this other thing. Yeah, see, Andor and Ahsoka are both trending on Twitter right now, which is pretty exciting when you're a Star Wars fan. But the fact that all these different insiders, scoopers, and YouTubers are all talking about Kathleen Kennedy being fired within the next couple weeks, or the fact that she might already be fired. We even in our chat had Anthony on Tuesday talking about how there's a secret meeting going on yesterday that was supposed to be for the firing of Kathleen Kennedy. Now, I don't know how they're going to publicly tell us this, if it's already been done or if it does get done in the weeks to come. But when they do tell us, however they do it, if she stepped down, if she resigned, if she got fired, whatever it is, we are going to have a celebration stream. I've already got the thumbnail made. Yep, that's how ready I am. I've already got the thumbnail made, and we're going to have a celebration stream no matter what hour of the day it is. If it's 2 in the morning, if it's 5 in the morning, if it's 6 at night, we're having an emergency stream party, actually. Not stream, party of Kathleen Kennedy's demise. Yep, that's where we've gotten here, ladies and gentlemen. We hate her so much that we were going to throw an epic bash about the saddest moment of her life. Okay, maybe not the saddest, but you know what I'm talking about. Swagger Like Us says, Andor did the little things amazing that other Star Wars projects failed to do, like make the TIE fighters menacing. That is very true. The TIE fighters look awesome in that show. Even the mere stormtrooper finally is a competent foe for rebels. That's true. He always is missing his shots and stuff like that. And it helps Andor actually that it followed up Kenobi, where the stormtroopers looked stupid and all these like you said, the little things looked bad in the Kenobi show. So it really elevated Andor to look that much better. The problem with Andor is it had a $250 million budget, meaning pretty much there is no way in hell that show made any money. But, yeah. Let's put it this way. That show had $250 million budget. Indiana Jones had $295 million, almost $300 million. And that was a lot for a movie. Crazy. Salty Texas Ranger, what's up, says, here I come to save the day. That's awesome. That's actually what I say. I play a lot of Apex Legends. Anybody play Apex in the chat? Anybody Apex love? I play a lot of Apex Legends, and whenever my friends go down in Apex, I always sing, here I come to save the day, when I come to save them, yeah. So, okay. Salty Texas Ranger says, it will be a soft canceling. They will just stop talking about Kathleen Kennedy. But does that mean all the projects that she has announced will be canceled? Does that mean Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire movie gets canceled as well, Salty? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I hope not. I pray not. If Dave Filoni's movie gets canceled, that's a bummer. And honestly, what do we have left? By the way, I'm out. So we're going to the good cup to follow his orders. Ba-ba. So for those of you who weren't, oh wow, hand cramp. For those of you who weren't here, this was months and months ago. This cup clearly has been through some stuff. It is a Rise of Skywalker cup, but we don't talk about that. It's clearly been through some stuff, okay? But it is a good cup, and it follows orders. So whenever I pull it out, that's why you'll sometimes see Star Wars Politics or Honey Badger or whoever say, in all caps, good cups follow orders when I pull out this big cup, because every stream I have 2 cups. Whenever I run out in this one, the Mando one, I go to this one, and it's the good cup that follows orders, okay? If you're confused, there you go. So if you feel like joining in on the party, you can just put in all caps, good cups follow orders. What the hell? Is my chat not catching up? Oh, here we go. Wait, what? For some reason, I'm not seeing that. I would use the Rise of Skywalker cup to piss in. Why? How are you supposed to, like, and then you dump it out? That seems like more work. Just aim for the toilet, Texas. Seems like a lot of work, honestly, for being real. I guess I am all caught up. Swagger Like Us says, Doug Chiang for Lucasfilm president. Not to mention John Knoll would be a great choice since he actually worked side by side with George Lucas himself. Also pitched the idea for Rogue One to Lucasfilm. Wow, I did not know that. John Knoll pitched the idea for Rogue One. That's a great pick. I am currently working on a video. Hopefully it comes out tomorrow, if not Saturday. Actually, yeah, hopefully tomorrow, if not Saturday, about my pick for the president of Lucasfilm. Spoiler alert, it's Doug Chiang. And but we go through all the other different options and who would be worse and all that other stuff. So it'll be a fun video. Working on it as we speak. Actually, not as we speak, because I'm live. And I'm not that good at multitasking. Yeah. So yeah, watch out for that video. What do we think about my video of Pedro Pascal being done that posted yesterday? What do we think about that? Pedro Pascal being done playing the Mandalorian. Now, I go into the evidence of he wasn't on set at all for season 3. He's just a voice actor now, but he was on set a whole lot when it came to season 1 and season 2. Even when he wasn't supposed to be showing his face, he was under the mask. He did it as much as he possibly could. He wanted to be involved. He wanted to be part of Star Wars. But now, since this rumored argument behind the scenes between Pedro and Jon Favreau, it seems as though Pedro doesn't really want to play Mando anymore. And there was supposed to be a scene of Din Djarin's face in the finale for Mando Season 3, and that didn't happen because of a scheduling conflict with The Last of Us, meaning Pedro Pascal was prioritizing something else over Star Wars, which is not a good thing for us Star Wars fans and us people that are fans of Din Djarin, especially with Season 4 on the way, and especially with Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire movie on the way. Could this mean that Din Djarin could be sacrificed or killed off in this movie, or even Season 4, and could lead to Grogu getting, like, insanely angry and using the dark side or something like that? Or just maybe they fast forward to past the sequels and past, like, hundreds of years and Grogu's all grown up or something along those lines. But at some point, Din Djarin does have to die, and maybe that does allow for Grogu to maybe turn to the dark side. Salty Texas Ranger says, how about... Oh, no thanks. No thanks, Salty. Swagger Like Us says, I think The Mandalorian should have ended with Season 2. That's interesting. That is interesting. Huh. But then we wouldn't be getting this movie of The Mandalorian, and we would never get to see Din Djarin's story kind of play out, you know? Din Djarin kind of just has this sad, emotional disconnect from Grogu, but you never got to actually get to see his story come to a close. Like, he starts off as the lone gunman, the bounty hunter who trusts nobody, trusts no droids, and then he comes all the way full circle to Season 3, where he trusts Grogu in a droid, the most important thing to him inside of a droid, and he's come full circle to being a lonesome guy to now working with all the other Mandalorians to reclaim his homeworld of Mandalore. I think season 3 did a great job of wrapping it up, you know? Even though there will be a fourth season, and there still will be the movie. Let me just throw this out there for you guys. Who do you think is going to die in the Dave Filoni movie? Whether it's Heir to the Empire or not. The Mandoverse movie, who do you think is going to die? Here's my options, at least. Or here's who I think will die. First of all, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Because he's not in the sequel trilogy, and clearly, let's be honest, he's probably going to die. Or you have Boba Fett. Boba Fett's been a bounty hunter for so long. He's been around forever. Tamara Morrison's only getting older, and he's not in the sequel trilogy. Then you have Din Djarin. Like I just said, Pedro Pascal doesn't really want to play him anymore. If he dies, it makes Grogu's character a lot stronger, probably in the Force, but also in the ways of losing a person very close to him, and maybe he goes to the dark side. Could it be... Those are pretty much my three options. Those are my three options, or my three most likely options, at least. Maybe Bo-Katan, even, because she's been alive for so long, or even Ahsoka, even. There's a lot of people who could die because they don't exist in the sequel trilogy, or their time as a Star Wars character has been for so long. Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Boba Fett have been around since the Clone Wars. They've been around forever. So I could very much see any of those characters really dying. Swaggerlega says, he's too amazing an actor to be masked 99.9% of the time. I agree. Pedro Pascal is one of my favorite actors in Hollywood right now. One of my favorite actors. He's fantastic in The Last of Us. He's fantastic as Din Djarin, but you never see his face. In the scenes where you do see his face, he's spectacular. Season 2, at the end in the last 2 episodes, he's amazing. Salty Texas Ranger says, Din Djarin was character assassinated in season 3. Yeah, it kind of seems like he got pushed to the side. It seems like they didn't really use his character all the way up until the last episode. Salty Texas Ranger says, hopefully Kathleen Kennedy dies in the Heir to the Empire movie. I doubt she'll be in the movie, but you know, you never know. You never know. Swagger says, true, Mike. Din's story should have continued via other stories. Having Grogu back so fast took the steam out of the series, and Disney firing Gina Carano did not help. That's very true. Firing of Gina Carano really messed things up. However, the Book of Boba Fett was a rushed project. They didn't take their time. They didn't take their time to fix the problem. Gina Carano was fired. And The Mandalorian Season 2 had just come out. So instead of thinking about it, planning out the future, because everything just got jumbled up. The future was planned for a second there. There was supposed to be the Rangers of the New Republic with Gina Carano involved. There was supposed to be the Ahsoka show and a Mando Season 3. But then the plan got crapped on because Gina Carano got fired and a lot of other things happened. So they went straight to Boba Fett. And it was rushed. Then they went to The Mandalorian Season 3. Still felt rushed, even after 2.5 years. So it'll be interesting to see what goes down with a Season 4 of The Mandalorian, but also whether or not we'll see a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, just to kind of get that character of Boba Fett back on track, at least, I should say. Right now, we're sitting at 60% of you guys think that the Rey movie will get canceled if Kathleen Kennedy is fired, which is honestly surprising to me. Salty Texas Ranger says, how about Palpatine? Palpatine dying in that movie? I seriously doubt it. Well, do you guys think Palpatine's going to be involved in this Heir to the Empire type scenario? Palpatine is technically on Exegol right now. He does communicate with Ochi of Bestoon to try and get Rey. What about a young Rey? Like, who are the characters from the sequel trilogy? Snoke, Kylo Ren, a young Ben Solo, a young Rey, Palpatine maybe even. Are these characters going to be involved in this story at all? Or is that all just going to be a separate story from this Mandoverse era? And would you guys be upset if you saw Palpatine, if you saw Supreme Leader Snoke, or even a young Ben Solo? What do we think? What do we think? Salty Texas Ranger says the Gina Carano firing is the greatest middle finger to the fandom, in my opinion. It's definitely a big middle finger to the fandom. For sure. It is. And you could say that what she said on Twitter was this, that, or the other thing. There are so many actors, so many producers, so many directors, so many everybody in Hollywood tweets ridiculous stuff, like absolutely ridiculous stuff. Some stuff worse than what Gina Carano said, some stuff borderline what Gina Carano said, whatever. Twitter does not matter. It doesn't matter at all. Honestly, if you're like threatening to like do harm to somebody, blah, 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 whatever. Of course, that's a completely different scenario. I'm not saying that that's a thing. But it does not make sense for somebody to lose their job when people literally right next to them, Pedro Pascal, James Gunn, people at the same level, even higher up. James Gunn is the freaking CEO of DC now, and he got fired from Marvel for tweets that he made and then was rehired because actors backed him up. Now, nobody backed Gina Carano, at least publicly, except for like Bill Burr. That was pretty much it. And so she never came back. If that did happen, because let's be honest, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 only happened because Chris Pratt and the other actors said we're not doing it without James Gunn. And he literally got rehired after getting fired because he made some tweets. I guess the people at Star Wars just didn't want Gina Carano that much because they didn't try. But I don't know. Definitely is a middle finger to the fans. Brandon Altman, what's up, Brandon? Says, it would be good to see a young Ben Solo, a young Ben Solo, as his journey through life is getting more interesting than Rey's. That's true. Seeing a young Ben Solo and maybe seeing how his pull to the dark side is at a young age, and getting to see him maybe become a Padawan to Luke. Getting to actually see that happen, and Luke actually starting up his Jedi Temple, actually getting to see all that would be awesome. They already started the Jedi Temple in the Book of Boba Fett. You already saw Grogu leave Luke and as he was building his Jedi Temple, but he didn't have any students yet. And according to canon and comics, Ben Solo is Luke's first actual apprentice, first actual Padawan, first actual kid. So it is possible that we do get to see a young Ben Solo, but who would play young Ben Solo? Can't de-age Adam Driver that much. So like I said, speaking of Andor, there's so many characters central to the series despite just one season. Mando has 3 seasons, yet it feels empty. Like there is really only 3 characters that actually have arcs. Yes, I guess I would agree with that. Andor does explore characters very deeply, but there is 12 episodes. They are longer episodes, and honestly, the characters don't matter. You get introduced to all these people as they try to infiltrate the Imperial base on Aldhani, but they all end up dying. Like you get connections to these characters and they all end up dying. And then you get connections to the people in the prison who all end up dying. And like you get connections to all these people who just all end up dying. So yeah, I get that the fact that The Mandalorian doesn't really explore other characters like you would want it to. Maybe Greef Karga, getting some backstory on him, or maybe him coming out on an adventure, actually leaving Navarro would be kind of cool. Of course, Gina Carano's gone, so that's hard to do. But Fennec Shand and Boba Fett kind of went and did their own thing. So you could argue that they had some story arc there. Bo-Katan, of course, getting some story arc. But the armor, maybe getting some more information on her. Paz Vizsla got some sort of arc. He's dead now, but, you know, I get you. Salty Texas Ranger says, Jake. Okay. They de-aged Edward Furlong as his apprentice in that hideous Terminator Dark Fate. What? Who is Edward Furlong? I gotta look this up. Edward Furlong. Who the hell is this? Terminator? They de-aged him, you're saying? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They de-aged him to a kid. That's just stupid. That's just dumb. Just recast him, like, as a child. Why? Why would you do that? Logan says, I don't remember you talking about this. You think? So you think Andy Serkis's character will be back? Will become Snoke? What? Oh, Kino Loy in Andor? Yeah, I think I made a joke video about that once. About Kino Loy becoming Supreme Leader Snoke. I think I made a few jokes about that when Andor was coming out. No, absolutely not. I don't think Kino Loy is Snoke. For a few reasons. Of course, it's the same actor, but he voices Snoke a lot differently. Kino Loy's not Force sensitive as far as we know. He looks nothing like Snoke. Snoke is a giant, and Snoke's a clone of Palpatine. We know that now. So I think not. I really hope not at this point, honestly, Logan, but I don't know. What do you think? Is Kino Loy actually Snoke? That would be a disaster. I'd hate that, honestly. Salty Texas Ranger says, agree. This is stupid, and they killed his character too. Andy Serkis from Andor, lol. Yeah, that's true. Kino Loy is a fan favorite character, and he could not swim. So there's that. But there is the rumor that he will be in season 2. I know I don't talk about a lot of Andor season 2 stuff. However, there is a lot of it. There's the set of Naboo. There's the set of the what the hell's the base? The base in A New Hope is going to be in season 2. So Naboo's going to be in season 2. That base, what the hell is the name of that moon? Somebody please help me. The Rebel base in A New Hope. That moon is going to be in it. That Rebel base is going to be in it. You're going to have probably cameos from like Harrison Dula. Maybe you get some other cameos from people from Rogue One. Maybe a Krennic. Maybe this, that, and the other thing. I think Andor Season 2 will be a lot better than Andor Season 1. But you never know. We shall see. Anthony, what's up? Yavin 4. Yavin 4. Thank you, Texas Ranger. Yavin 4. That literally hurt my brain that I couldn't remember that. That was devastating. Anthony, what's up? Says, well, Mike, considering whenever a film by a director who's been tagged to be doing a Star Wars movie has a unsuccessful film, Kathleen Kennedy tends to cancel their Star Wars project. That's true, Anthony, but what if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired right alongside this person? I know what you're saying, and we talked about this earlier before you got here, but Taika Waititi, the same thing happened with him. He had a Star Wars movie, but then he had a fail of a Thor: Love and Thunder movie, and then the Star Wars movie kind of just disappears. Now, will the same thing happen with James Mangold, or will Kathleen Kennedy get fired? It is tough to say. It is tough to say, but we shall see. 75% of you right now think that the Rey movie will be canceled if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired. That is shocking to me. Like, actually shocking to me. You don't think that the Rey movie will still remain even if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired? It's crazy. That movie's already in production. It's already being written. It's supposed to begin filming soon. Not like within the next couple of months, but it is supposed to begins filming early next year. It is shocking to me that you guys don't think that this movie will still happen. It's crazy. Crazy. Salty Texas Ranger says, Disney will not your brain? What? Oh, will rot your brain. Yes, they will rot your brain. So don't listen to anything they say. Honey Badger. Oh, he's back. Honey Badger, return of the Badger once again. Been busy with court stuff in real life. Been busy lately. Apologize for missing some streams. Never, ever apologize for missing a stream. Don't worry about it one bit. We've held down the fort for you. We have held down the fort. Don't worry. We will always be here if you guys ever get busy, if you guys ever have lives, you know. I'm always here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't worry about it. All right. Anthony says, Mike, Well, my guess is if Kathleen Kennedy goes, the likelihood of the new Jedi Order getting made is seriously diminished. Maybe Dave Filoni will be an overseer of it if KK goes. Here's the thing. It's all about who replaces Kathleen. If it's Doug Chiang, who's the vice president of Lucasfilm right now, I don't think there'll be many cancellations. However, if it's Jon Favreau, or if it's somebody new, like completely new from outside of Lucasfilm, then there'll definitely be some cancellations. I think the Rey movie will get canceled. I think even other smaller projects, like maybe even the Acolyte show, even though it's already done filming, could get canceled. Look at what Zaslav did at DC. He had a fully filmed, fully edited, ready to go Batgirl movie and shelved it for a tax write-off. Like, if somebody else that isn't from within the company of Lucasfilm comes in, there could be some big-time cancellations, like big-time cancellations. Honey Badger says, out eating, just wanted to stop by. Sorry for missing some lives. Don't worry about it. Salty Texas Ranger says, nothing personal against Daisy. I wanted to like the Rey character, but Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams wrote her into a corner. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly, Ranger. You are spot on. Rey was a lovable character in the first movie. She was. There's so much mystery behind her. She gets left by her parents on this desert planet. You don't know who her parents were. You don't know where she came from. She's this mysterious person. She's talented with the Force, and you don't know why. A lot of the mystery behind her is really, really cool. And then, like you said, Ryan Johnson comes in, ruins it. J.J. Abrams comes in and ruins it again, even though he set her up, I guess, in the first place. I would love nothing better than for Daisy Ridley to get the appeal and love that she deserves for a good Rey character. But we just haven't gotten that yet. Rey needs to be... You know what would really help? And it sounds stupid, but you know what would really help is if Rey got one of her hands taken off. It sounds really, really dumb. Anakin got his hand taken off. Luke got his hand taken off. Blah, 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 blah. It's like poetry. It rhymes. If she went through something crazy traumatic, like decapitated or something, maybe not decapitated, that's a little bit too much, but maybe like a pinky toe or something crazy, you know? Give me something. Give me something to be like, ooh, she's going to have to really recover from that one. I don't know. Maybe. Brandon Altman says, I think Dave will spin the Rey movie to have some elements of the Ahsoka and Mando if the show comes to completion. If Dave Filoni can do that, if there are aspects or even characters from the Mandoverse in the Rey movie, now you're talking about good news, great news. If Kathleen Kennedy gets fired and whomever gets put in charge, and Dave Filoni has eyes on the Rey movie and has involvements with the Rey movie and puts some of his characters in the Rey movie, like Ahsoka maybe, who could still be alive, or even Mando or Grogu, I see no world, literally no world, that Grogu is not in this movie and this movie is successful. I don't see a world. How in the world can your most popular character, Grogu, look down, he's on your shirt. Wait, shit, I'm not wearing a Grogu shirt today. Look down, he's on your shirt, I guarantee it. In what world would you not put Grogu, a character that will live for the next 900 years, extremely strong with the Force, in your next new Jedi Order movie? It's the next Jedi Order, and Grogu's not going to be involved? What are we, stupid? And don't say yes, because I know they are. Honey Badger says, KK needs to be gone. No lightsabers for anyone. Mwahahaha. Let's pray she's gone for Star Wars and Mike's pocket. Yeah, so what Badger's talking about here is, I told you guys I would do a giveaway of lightsabers at the end of the year if Kathleen Kennedy was still here. But if she's not, no giveaway. There will be a giveaway, but it will be for a different cause and a different reason. You know? So yeah. Salty Texas Ranger says, the whole KK regime needs to go. here's the thing. I agree with you, but when you cut off the head of the snake dies. Her regime isn't really her regime, because people in the regime include Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. The two of them are spectacular geniuses, creative geniuses. They're amazing people in this, that, and the other thing. You have Bryce Dallas Howard, you have Deborah Chow, you have people that are extremely good directors, extremely good writers, extremely good people that are in the regime of Kathleen Kennedy. However, they're being led by Kathleen Kennedy. She has the last say on everything that happens. So get rid of the head, I think it would help a whole lot. Brandon Altman says George Lucas comes in to replace Kathleen Kennedy. Now, nothing would please me more, Brendan. Nothing would please me more. I just don't see it happening. I don't think George wants to. I don't think George would really, honestly, even if you paid him megabucks, would want to do that. He's been so scarred by what they've done with his characters. Honestly, I wouldn't blame him if they offered him the position of president of Lucasfilm, and he turned to them, laughed, and flipped them off. I would not be surprised one bit. Honestly, I would applaud him for that because he deserves every second of it. They've destroyed his characters. Look what you've done to my child. Anthony says, Brandon, honestly, if that happens, the fandom would be in such a better state within 24 hours, especially if he defined what the canon was going forward. Well, yeah, here's the thing. If George Lucas was announced to be the next president of Lucasfilm again, that would be the news story for like months. Star Wars would just thrive for months just off of the fact that George Lucas was back. He doesn't even have to be the freaking president. If he's back on any project involved in anything, the publicity, the hype around the fandom, it'll be spectacular. It'll be great. It'll be great. Like, you're talking about the easiest way to get fans excited for something, the easiest way to win back the fandom, George Lucas, the creator himself. They literally talk about him like he's dead. Let's listen to this Kathleen Kennedy interview. Hang on. Let's. This is funny. This will make you laugh. This will make you laugh. Here we go. Kathleen Kennedy interview. Here we go. Kathleen Kennedy thinks George Lucas is dead. You ready for this? Oops. Now, she doesn't outright say, I think George Lucas is dead, but you can tell she does.
Pose this provocative idea, who is Luke Skywalker?
Oh, who is Luke Skywalker? She is the idea that gave us the Luke Skywalker that we know and love in the sequel trilogy. There you go. She said it herself. I posed the idea. Who is Luke Skywalker? God, I'm trying to stay calm, but we're fast forwarding.
A fascinating question.
I guess because it spoke to...
Shut up, JJ. Nobody cares.
...for whom Luke Skywalker was essentially a myth.
There isn't a day that goes by or went by as we were making the movie where we don't talk about George. You know, it's the standard, what would George do? One of the things that we talked about very...
There wasn't a day on set when we didn't think about George, talk about George. She's literally acting like this guy is dead. He is one phone call away. You can go ask George. Ask him. What would George do? How about we call him up?
Talk about George.
Hang on, let me fast.
We're making the movie where we don't talk about George. We're making the movie where we don't talk about George. You know, it's the standard, what would George do? One of the things...
Call him. Ask him. What would he do? How about we ask him? You know what he would have told you? Don't make that movie. Do something else. What a disaster. What a disaster. She's such a joke. And by the way, that interview was from 5 years ago. She's such a fucking joke. Oh my God. Sorry. Got a little carried away there. Where was I? Oh my God, you guys are going off. Hang on. Where was I? Salty Texas Ranger says, yeah, an amputation would be awesome for Rey, he's saying. And Grogu is the only shirt they sell anymore. That's true. That is true. They need to get other merchandising stuff out there. But Grogu shirts are pretty cool. You should probably get yourself one. Honey Badger says, all I need is answers for Anakin's absence. Very true. Ben revived Finn, brought him back. Wait, what? Ben revived Finn? Who? What? Brought back as a Jedi. Explanation of Rey's yellow kyber crystal and the logical Sith and dark side user as an antagonist. Dude, if they explain where Anakin's been this entire time, that would just be music to my ears. Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, has not even been mentioned in the sequel trilogy. How about the fact that he was a Force ghost during Return of the Jedi? And we haven't seen his Force ghost since 1983, Return of the Jedi. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ed, what's up, Ed? Says, make DF the president. Who is... Oh, Dave Filoni. Make Dave Filoni the president and give GL the vice president and creative consultant. Who is GL? Let's try and think. Oh, George Lucas. I'm just stupid, guys. Don't worry about it. He's saying, make Dave Filoni the president and give George Lucas the vice president and creative consulting. That would be smart. That would mean George Lucas doesn't have to do much work at all. He just has to consult. He doesn't really have to do much. That would be smart. That would be real smart. That would be smart. Swagger Like Us says, the problem with the Rey film is that Lucasfilm ignores all of the other great potential stories, characters, and awesome aspects of the Star Wars galaxy. No live-action X-Wing content, no Dr. Aphra, and no Tar Vizsla. That's very true. They're going straight to the sequel trilogy again that bombed so badly. Actually, it didn't really bomb. It made a lot of money for them, but completely divided the fandom. They're following a paycheck right now instead of going after what fans love and desire. How about the fact that The Mandalorian's so successful? Maybe you should do, like Swagger says here, a Tar Vizsla origin story. The guy who created the Darksaber during the time of a Mandalorian Jedi war that lasted thousands of years. How about we talk about that? Get a movie on that. Honey Badger says, and add Sir Mandalorian Din Grogu into the mix. Just makes for a good movie. That's very true. It would make for a great movie. You're not wrong. Salty Texas Ranger says, I couldn't stand seeing KK on the stage with George at the Indy 5 premiere. Darth, oh jeez, I'm not saying that. Sorry. Yeah, she just angers me. She does. Kathleen Kennedy, that is. Just her presence, just seeing her face. I'm working on a video right now about who's going to replace her. And I just can't stand looking at this lady's face anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. Yeah. Nico, what's up, Nico? Says, what's the topic right now? Well, I don't even know. We're all over the place. We're all over the place. Kathleen Kennedy getting fired. Rey's movie, would it be canceled if she got fired? Dawn of the Jedi, James Mangold's movie, will it get canceled because James Mangold just directed Indiana Jones 5 and that movie is bombing? We've talked about Andor. We've talked about Ahsoka a little bit. We're going to talk about Ahsoka a little bit more in a little bit. It's a little bit of everything. The topic, Nico, is Star Wars. That's the topic. Anthony says, Mike, I don't accept Kathleen Kennedy and co.'s The Star Wars as canon. Thus, the sequel trilogy as canon. Thus, I don't want Mandoverse characters troubled/ruined by appearing with her 39 years later in the timeline. So you're saying you don't want Mando characters in the Rey movie because you don't want them connected to the sequel trilogy because you don't see the sequel trilogy as canon. Whew. Okay. Here's the thing. Even if Kathleen Kennedy gets fired and somebody else comes in, the sequel trilogy will remain canon as long as Disney owns Star Wars, which seems like that will be for a long, long time. So, I believe the best option for us moving forward is to see the sequel trilogy. You can think of it as canon, you can think of it as your head canon, you can think of it as non-canon, whatever you want. However, we can see it for what it is. And the stories around it can make the story itself better. A lot like the prequel trilogy. The prequel trilogy is fantabulous. It's probably my second favorite trilogy behind the original trilogy. And when I say that, I'm not obviously talking about just Star Wars trilogies. I'm talking about all trilogies ever. But with that being said, the prequel trilogy got a whole lot better by the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars adds on to Anakin's character by adding on Ahsoka, by really delving into his character and his fall to the dark side. And it just explores Kenobi and the Clone War itself a whole lot. So it really develops the characters better. The original trilogy is goated. Doesn't really need to be made better by anything around it. However, the Kenobi show, however you feel about it, still makes the original trilogy better. It does. How much that make it better, Mike? If that blah 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 blah. There are a few loose ends when it comes to the original trilogy in A New Hope specifically. When Darth Vader says, "This is something I haven't felt since," and he walks away. You have Obi-Wan calling him Darth. You have what are some of the others? Somebody in the chat to help me out. But there are other ones. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi show actually fixes all of those problems. Princess Leia knowing where Obi-Wan is. So it fixes all of those problems because you now know when Obi-Wan and Vader last fought. You now know why he calls him Darth, because his friend is truly gone. He calls him Anakin all the way up until that point, and then he says goodbye, Darth, and then in the original trilogy, he calls him Darth, only a master of evil, Darth. So, yeah, there is always room for improvement, I believe. So the sequel trilogy needs a shit ton of improvement when it comes to the character of Luke Skywalker, when it comes to explaining Supreme Leader Snoke, when it comes to explaining the First Order in general, when it comes to explaining Palpatine, all that needs more delving into, needs more explaining, needs more this, that, and the other thing. So I think doing stories before, doing stories after, doing stories during the sequel trilogy is only going to help out the sequel trilogy. Now, I know many people are going to be upset about that. However, if the right people are in charge, if Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and other great minds are in charge, we should be okay. We should be okay. Where was I? Well, Salty Texas Ranger just says, Obi-Wan Kenobi was fun, but it created way more issues than it fixed. What do you mean? What issues did it create? Maybe you're right. I just can't think of any off the top of my head. Let me go back. Where was I? Swaggerlega says, I'll take a live-action Maul Crimson Dawn project over the aforementioned Rey film any day. Oh, so would I. Oh my god, a Crimson Dawn Darth Maul-centered movie? That would be awesome. Or even show, honestly. With Kiara, with Emilia Clarke, that would be fan-freaking-tastic. That would be awesome. Or even a Crimson Dawn show that was centered around Emilia Clarke in the Crimson Dawn during the original trilogy, and it had flashbacks to her getting trained by Maul. That would be awesome. I agree. Ed says, The Force Awakens has a scene with Kylo Ren fighting Finn with lightsabers, and Finn is just as good as Kylo Ren without having ever used a lightsaber before. Cringy. Well, that is not true. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of right now. I urge you to go rewatch that movie and at least rewatch that scene. Finn gets beat up pretty quickly by Kylo Ren. He's kind of like messing with him at first, and he like burns his shoulder, but then almost immediately after that, he slices his back open. So, and Kylo Ren just got shot by Chewie's blaster, which throughout the entire movie, we see how powerful Chewie's blaster is when Han Solo uses it over and over again. So he got blasted with that, survived, by the way, and is like punching his side the entire fight and stuff. So obviously he's injured, but he does make quick use of Finn. Rey, on the other hand, does kind of keep up with him quite a bit for having no training herself, but that is because she's one of the dyad of the Force and, of course, the granddaughter of Palpatine. But that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, the sequel trilogy, ladies and gentlemen. What are you going to do about it? Swagger Like Us says, a Rey film before a live-action Cal Kestis project makes no sense. Well, a lot of things before the Rey movie before a lot of projects makes no sense at all. That's for sure. Yes. Could not agree with you more. Absolutely. Cal Kestis live action will be fantastic. I have no doubt in my mind that that won't that will happen. So I hope it does happen soon. You know. Where was I? You guys are typing so much. First of all, I love it. Don't stop. Let's go for a record tonight. I think the record for most chats was in the live watch party we did for the finale of season 3. That shout out to Honey Badger who forced me to do that, and it was the greatest idea ever because so many of you showed up and it was awesome, and it was the biggest stream we ever had, and it was at 3 a.m. and it was crazy. But let's try and beat that record. Where was I? Honey Badger says, yes. Give Dave KK's job, give John Dave's job, and save Star Wars. Do it. And bring back Papa George. That would be fantastic. That would be amazing. Dave Filoni as president, Jon Favreau as vice president, and George, or Dave Filoni as president, George as vice president, and John as Dave's job now. That'd be great. Anthony says, I'm getting the impression that Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire movie may be a beginning of a new trilogy, which will be the spiritual sequel trilogy to George Lucas's original trilogy, minimizing the importance of the original sequel trilogy. Yes, that would be amazing. First of all, as of now, my microphone doesn't want to work with me here. As of now, this Heir to the Empire movie that Dave Filoni is working on is a standalone film. However, if it were to be the beginning of a trilogy, I don't think any of us would be complaining. Not a single one. That would be so awesome. If Heir to the Empire was the first of a trilogy, where a lot of fans who don't see the sequel trilogy as canon could see this new trilogy as canon, that would be fantastic. Fantastic. It would be awesome. First of all, it would give fans options, and it would give us the ability to see a Dave Filoni completely directed trilogy of Star Wars. And it would be Thrawn, it would be characters that we know and love from Rebels, and it would be The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and maybe even the original trilogy characters, Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie, and Lando. All fighting up against Thrawn and his undead army, and with Sith and magic users, aka Night Sisters. Whew, that got me excited. Please be a trilogy. And to make it even better, the Heir to the Empire trilogy, the first book is called Heir to the Empire. The next two have different names. Now I'm completely blanking out. Hang on. Heir to the Empire. So the Heir to the Empire trilogy. Here we go. By Timothy Zahn is here we go. So the first one is Heir to the Empire. The second one is Dark Force Rising, and the last one is The Last Command. So that is the trilogy where Thrawn is the main bad guy the entire time, and you have this big war going on, and that is the Legends novel Thrawn trilogy called Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. So it is possible that this could be the beginning of this said trilogy, and it's brought into live action. That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be amazing. Ow. Okay. Where was I? So like I says, give me more Ronin stories from Star Wars Visions Season 1 any day before Rey. Even though it's non-canon, I appreciate the fact that it was a fresh, creative take on the Star Wars universe done right. Ronin is a cool episode of Visions, and it's funny because it's episode 1 of Visions Season 1, right? So it's almost like the show went completely downhill from there if you elevate that episode to that high of a ranking. But yeah, I completely agree. Losing my voice here. Where was I? Salty Texas Ranger says, bring back Kiara. I've been saying bring back Kiara for years now. Emilia Clarke is one of I think the most talented actresses in Hollywood. She's in Marvel right now, but bringing her back into Star Wars would be a smart move. First of all, she's the leader of Crimson Dawn. She's apprenticed to to Darth Maul, and she is a very important character when it comes to the underworld of Star Wars, and Boba Fett and even The Mandalorian kind of should be about the underworld of Star Wars. Nico says, I'm curious if people would have the same reaction to the Rey movie if Rey was replaced with Finn, or if Finn was added to the film as a Jedi. That's very true. I think the closer and closer we get to the movie, if we do find out that Finn is in it, I think that will please a lot of fans. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that doesn't want to see more of Finn. Finn got boned so hard in that sequel trilogy, it was ridiculous. Not only in the press and the advertising for the movie, but in the story for the movie itself. He literally just sits there for 6 straight hours going, Rey! 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 Literally for 6 straight hours. So getting to see him actually fulfill a story arc and become a Jedi would be fantastic. I completely agree. Honey Badger says, hey, look, I'm happy with Star Wars right now. We're finally moving in a positive direction. We're getting Ahsoka and Mando High Republic movies. Not quite yet, but yes. Getting more Luke, Leia, and Han, and most importantly, Din Djarin is alive and well. I am a happy Star Wars guy right now. Bring back my Finn and Kylo. Yeah, it is a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Although we are in this weird 2-month drought right here from June into July until we get to the Ahsoka show of nothing really going on in Star Wars, there is still some news, there is still some speculation to be had. But it still is the best time to be a Star Wars fan, because as soon as the Ahsoka show starts, we're going to be cruising right until the Skeleton Crew show, and then Acolyte, Andor Season 2, Tales of the Jedi Season 2, Bad Batch Season 3, Mando Season 4, Dave Filoni's movie, all this stuff just piling and piling on. It's the best time to be a Star Wars fan, not to mention video games. So, yeah, I agree. Salty Texas Ranger says, Finn should have been killed off, or at least paralyzed by Kylo. Bacta-Tank shouldn't have fixed a hit like that. Well, we see the Bacta-Tank do a lot. The Bacta-Tank is right now healing Cobb Vanth, who got shot by Cad Bane. It healed Boba Fett, who was burned really badly from the Sarlacc pit. Why couldn't I think of that? I don't know. Sarlacc pit. So the Bacta-Tank is very strong. I mean, you can see Vader in the Bacta-Tank. He got burned alive and 3 of his limbs chopped off. So I think the Bacta-Tank could have saved Finn for sure, but the way that they made him a walking water balloon was the stupidest thing ever. The Last Jedi, oh my god. Anthony says, Mike, hello. Why hasn't Star Wars Underworld been even mentioned as a future Star Wars project? Again, resources were given to Andor and the Acolyte, but not George Lucas's own project? Yeah, I know. You're big on this Underworld thing, and I'm right there with you. The Underworld thing is a 52 scripts that George Lucas already wrote. It's already ready to go, and they won't make it, and we don't know why. I don't know. Ed Shelton says, Kylo versus Finn, or Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul, which is better? Well, that's not even a question. It's not even a question. Obviously, it's Duel of the Fates. It's Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul. It's one of the most iconic lightsabers duels in Star Wars. Does anybody actually think that it's the Finn and Kylo one? Nico says, I'm looking forward to does somebody actually think it's the Finn and Kylo one? I need to know. Nico says, I'm looking forward to all of the Filoni shows tying into the Heir to the Empire story. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. We're going to finally get a Star Wars story that's interconnected to these TV shows. All these shows seem to be standalone stuff, Andor, Obi-Wan. They don't really connect to the movies. This is going to actually be connected big time with the characters from the shows coming into the movie theaters. Very true. Ed says, The Last Command was the last book, yes, of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. Indeed. Salty Texas Ranger says, the captain of the Star Wars Galactic Cruiser Hotel was a match between KK and Thrawn. What? Was it really? Wait, what? Anthony says, I'm sure I'm not the only one who noticed how Favreau and Filoni's multiverse is already taking over the relevance of the sequel trilogy. There's more characterizations and world building on Disney Plus than the whole entire sequel trilogy. I can't disagree with you there. I cannot at all. What Dave and John are creating is what the sequel trilogy should have been from the start. If the sequel trilogy didn't exist in the Mandalorian time period that we are going through right now was the only thing that we had post Return of the Jedi, imagine that. Imagine Luke Skywalker's character wasn't destroyed. And the first time we were ever seeing Luke Skywalker since 1983 was at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2 when he comes to save Grogu and Din. What? How insane would that be? Wild. Aim Punched said, I think they will have a Finn they will make Finn a Jedi. I certainly hope so. Swagger Like Us says, give me a Timothy Zahn written Chiss Ascendancy versus the Grisk live action project any day before Rey. Okay, well that would just be insane. You're talking about the Chiss versus the Grisk? Like, that would be fucking wild. And I don't use that word often. That would be insane. Ranger says, Finn was friend-zoned. Yeah, he was friend-zoned big time in that sequel trilogy by Rey and Poe and Rose. Honey Badger says, like I said, no Finn and no Ben. I'm walking out of the Rey film mid-theater. I don't care. Wow. Daisy is cool. Rey sucks as a character. Finn got robbed of a great character story. And Ben / Kylo was amazing. I don't disagree with you. I think a necessity to that Rey movie is the character of Finn and even Kylo. But I don't know if I'd walk out. That's crazy. I'd love to be in the theater with you. Hey, maybe by that time, the channel will be big enough where I can rent out a whole theater. Would you guys want to do that? Rent out a whole theater and watch it together? How sick would that be? That'd be awesome. Maybe not for the Rey movie, but maybe for the Heir to the Empire movie. I don't know. We could all crap on the Rey movie together if it's really that bad. You know? Aim Punch says, really don't care. Really don't care really. About what? Salty Texas Ranger says, the Acolyte is going to be the Bud Light moment for Disney / Lucasfilm. Brought to you when... Okay. Yes. Brought to you by Leslie Headland. So Leslie Headland, we've heard what she said. Everybody knows. She crapped on George Lucas, crapped on the prequel trilogy, and pretty much made everybody hate her. And she is the showrunner for the Acolyte show. So, yeah. Yeah. Honey Badger says, that's all I need to be happy with the Rey movie is Finn and Kylo. I agree. I think you're right. Spot on. Anthony says, I have a feeling that if Filoni's movie is a hit, the next one might be a live action adaptation of the Chiss and the Grisk. That would be bold. That would be bold as balls. That would be insanity. The Grisk? You're going to go that bold? I mean, I guess if you're going to go with Dave Filoni, you can go that bold. For sure. Do you guys want to see the Grisk? Do you guys even know who the Grisk is? Should we pull up the Grisk? Let's pull up the Grisk. The Grisk. So the Grisk, of course, is just legends for now. Here we go. These guys are... Wait, what? They're claiming that this guy from the Eclipse trailer was the Grisk? No. So the Grisk... Grisk in the Ahsoka series? That's got to be fake. Okay. Here we go. Why is there no good pictures online of the Grisk? These, like, it's only... What? Oh, here we go. That's not really good. Yeah, I don't know. There's no real good images of them online. Kind of stupid. Dumb. But here's what Wikipedia says about the Grisk. Here we go. The Grisk were a warlike sentient species that lived in the unknown regions. According to the Chiss Grand Admiral Thrawn, they should not be underestimated, and if they fled, wait, underestimated. And if they fled, it would be because they chose to leave the battle. Thrawn believed that the Grisk were such a danger that they posed a threat to both the Chiss Ascendancy and the Galactic Republic. The Grisk would enslave the minds and souls of beings. They, having twisted their desires, fears, memories, and hopes, and their will to be their client. The Grisk ruled an empire known as the Grisk sure, yeah. The Grisk were a humongous empire at one point, and then they, of course, kind of dwindled out and are not really as relevant when it comes to the Skywalker saga, that is. But they could always come back. There is always the rumor, again, it's all just legends. There is always the rumor that the Grisk could be in this new Beyond that we're going to get introduced to in the Ahsoka show. Who knows? Aim Punch says, if Rey... I like Rey. She just needs good writing. I completely agree. I think Rey was just poorly written in the sequel trilogy. Again, in The Force Awakens, she is set up to be this great character. You don't know who her parents are. You don't know who she is. You don't know why she's so powerful with the Force. And almost every answer to that question is just a bummer. The way that they wrote that character was bad. Swagger Like Us says, take my money now. That would be insane. He's talking about the Triss versus the Grisk. Salty Texas Ranger says, Kylo Ren and Boba Fett were both emasculated, I'm guessing is what you're saying. Is what you're trying to say. When they took their helmets off. Yeah, kind of. I mean, when Kylo takes his helmet off in The Force Awakens, I almost like laugh every time. He looks like Lord Farquaad from Shrek. But yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about some Ahsoka here. So, this is coming from Bespin Bulletin. It's a very, very, very good source. We were supposed to get some footage from Ahsoka last week. Last weekend. However, due to some technical difficulties on Twitter, we actually didn't get it because they couldn't release it on Twitter. Now let's see how true this actually is. Here we go. Let's read this up. Star Wars Ahsoka footage planned to release last weekend delayed due to Twitter issues. Is that big enough? That's perfect. Okay. Star Wars fans were left disappointed after Ahsoka footage due to the release weekend failed to release. Due to release this weekend, failed to release. Prompting fans, prompting fans to ask what happened to the footage. Well, we may have the answer. And then they always say, go follow our Patreon. Shut up. Okay. You may recall that Disney announced towards the tail end of last month at the special look at Lucasfilm's upcoming Disney Plus series that Ahsoka was slated to debut at Essence Fest primetime during Disney's visual showcase on Saturday, July 1st. As fans eagerly anticipated the footage release, they were left empty-handed as the special look failed to release. Many online began speculating that the release of the special look was delayed due to issues that arose on Twitter that same day. Without warning, the vast number of Twitter users encountered a rate limit exceeded message when they scrolled on the app. With Twitter owner Elon Musk later adding that the social media juggernaut had implemented temporary limits to users of the platform, which saw the average non-verified user limited to viewing just 600 tweets in a day, and paid Twitter Blue subscribers available to view 6,000 tweets a day. Since then, both Blue subscribers and non-subscribers have had their view rates raised, but it is unclear if the limit has been lifted or when it will be. So that's kind of crazy. You are limited to how many tweets you get to view a day on Twitter, which is ridiculous. But there was some problems with Twitter when that was implemented. So this is what people believe to be the reason as to why we didn't get to see any Ahsoka footage. We were supposed to get Ahsoka footage on Saturday, and it didn't happen. However, at the time, this was merely speculation. And in the days that have passed, the speculation has only grown surrounding the topic. Now, within these days, both myself and credited Star Wars insider Making Star Wars have both heard individually that from separate sources that the release of the special look footage was delayed due to the limits placed on Twitter over the weekend, and likely caused Disney and Lucasfilm to alter their release plans. Neither I nor Making Star Wars have heard as to when the special look will now be released. So it's obviously Thursday now, and we still haven't gotten this footage released. So it's still up in the air when we're going to get this footage. It exists, it's there, it's the special look at the Ahsoka show, but we don't have it yet. And it's very strange because you would think, oh, well, they just do it when Twitter fixes their issue. But it seems like Twitter has fixed their issue and they still haven't released it. And now we're 5 days later and still no trailer. I don't know. The Twitter upset over the weekend is seemingly still ongoing. The users seeking out Twitter alternatives such as Blue Sky and Mastodon, seemingly keen to capitalize on Twitter's current issues. Meta, the company behind Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, is gearing to release their Twitter competitor Threads this Thursday. Yeah, that's out, by the way. I am not on it yet. Should I get on Threads? What do we think? We're on Instagram, of course. That's our biggest platform right now, but what do we think? The app is the text-based social media platform similar to Twitter, with users simply needing to sign in with their Instagram account to begin posting on the app. It's been reported that Thread already has lined up a lineup of influencers and celebrities ready to promote the app upon its Thursday launch. Blah 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 blah. Okay, as to what the Ahsoka footage set to release at Essence Fest was, nobody truly knows. I'm sure many fans were hoping to for a possible official trailer release following April's teaser. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's likely we are going to get the Ahsoka official trailer very, very soon. The Ahsoka show's about a month and a half away. Like, we are almost getting towards the time of hype for Ahsoka. However, we still don't even have the official trailer for Ahsoka. There's still no official trailer. And that's kind of wild to me. However, when are we going to get this trailer? It's been 5 days since Saturday and still no trailer. So an official trailer, I mean, when do you guys know? Somebody help me out here. When was the official trailer for The Mandalorian released? Like the first official trailer? Not a teaser trailer, the first official trailer. Like how much earlier before? You know? I don't know. Somebody help me out. Where was I? Anthony says, if I'm correct, either the Grysk were supposed to be adapted in the last season of the Clone Wars, but Disney/Lucasfilm canceled the Clone Wars. Maybe Filoni will follow through now. Well, that would be interesting. I've not heard that the Grysk were supposed to be put into the Clone Wars. Maybe Filoni was all about that. Honey Badger says, when will you realize Sir Mandalorian Din Grogu trained with Luke longer, so therefore is stronger than Rey at 52 years old? Bugs me that Rey is the chosen one. Don't even say that. But yet is the spawn of a clone of a clone. And it's Palpatine. So she can't really be the chosen one if she's evil. Yeah, don't ever call her the chosen one again. Swagger Lego says, Dave Filoni's ascension to the live action via directing and screenwriting is a dream come true. Rumor has it pre-screenings of Ahsoka were so impressive that Dave Filoni got Heir to the Empire gig. Yeah, so that's kind of what the story is Ahsoka is so good that they gave Dave Filoni the movie. Dave Filoni wasn't going to be directing a movie until they saw Ahsoka. So Ahsoka is that good. It will be that good. And I can't freaking wait. Holy crap. Yeah. The guy, what's up, the guy says, we almost got 69% for yes on the poll. I know. What the hell, guys? 67%? What the... He follows up and says, so there's no real news today then? Not really. We're kind of just speculating, spitballing, hoping that Kathleen Kennedy gets fired. I mean, that Ahsoka stuff was technically news. We are going to be getting a official trailer for Ahsoka very, very, very soon. I would expect either this weekend or early next week. Just because Ahsoka is right around the corner. So not really much news today, but we're speculating, we're having fun, and we're doing the do and talking about possible cancellations of the Rey movie and Dawn of the Jedi because of Indiana Jones bombing, and of course Kathleen Kennedy's firing, and of course the Ahsoka show. And as always, we're just having fun talking about Star Wars. Yeah. The guy says, we're waiting for the old lady Lucasfilm president to get da boot. Yeah, pretty much. Swagger Like Us says, I believe it. What do you believe? He believes something. Oh, the Clone Wars thing. I believe it. Dave mentioned often how he consulted Lucas at times. I love that concept. Yeah. If anybody's going to involve George Lucas, the creator himself, it's Dave Filoni. First impressions never lie. I've seen the leaked Star Wars Celebration trailer for Ahsoka panel, and it was insane. Yeah, that leaked trailer was a lot better than the trailer that we got. They were very similar, of course. They had majority of the same scenes, but yeah, it was a lot better. Ed Chilton says, Google says the Mandalorian official trailer came out August 23rd of 2019 and aired, the first season of The Mandalorian, thanks. Yeah, and aired November 12th of 2019. Well, that's like 3 months. But is that the official trailer or is that the teaser trailer? Oh, you said official trailer. Huh. Interesting. Then where the hell is this Ahsoka trailer? For real. Where is this Ahsoka trailer at? I don't know. I have the KFC Sweet Lightning Dew. What? What does that mean, the guy? Honey Badger says, more info on Ahsoka. KK possibly getting the biggest boot of all time, singing to my Star Wars ears. Oh, yeah. It's great. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. And hopefully we will throw a massive rager when Kathleen Kennedy gets fired. So, yeah. Swagger Like Us says, Tales of the Jedi, Siege of Mandalore, Ahsoka 2. Dave Filoni must be hurting carrying the franchise. It's true. His back must be broken at this point. His back must be broken. He's probably got some scoliosis up in there. And I can joke about that because I had scoliosis. True story. True story. Maybe for another time, unless you guys want to hear it now, but I don't know. I think, anything else going on here? Any other news going on here? Been going for about an hour and a half. It's usually about the time when I call it quits and I really have to take a pee. I don't know. What do you guys think? What should we call it quits here? 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 Should we call it quits? Yeah. That's my Josh impression right there. Star Wars Outlaws? Yeah, there's not really much to talk about there. We watched the trailers before in the live streams. We've done all this coverage of that. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Next year, Star Wars Outlaws, sign me up. But I don't know. Not much to talk about there. I think we're going to get on out of here. You guys, the absolute best. We hit 12 viewers at one point, maybe even 13. I wasn't really paying attention all that much. You guys, the absolute best, of course, live stream Saturday at 6 p.m. Sorry. Saturday at 6 p.m., Tuesday at 6 p.m., Thursday at 6 p.m. for the rest of your Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for the rest of your lives. So, yeah, watch out for that. If it bombs, she gone. Yes, indeed. Darth Kennedy, no. Yeah. So, yeah. You guys are the absolute best. Blah, 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 blah. Smash a like on this video, hit subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. We'll have a video very soon about who we think is going to replace Kathleen Kennedy coming out on the channel very, very soon. Indiana Jones 5 news, Mike. Well, the fact that it's bombing, that's the news. It's bombing pretty badly. The fact that it was a $300 million budget movie and it's bombing horribly is quite hilarious. It's definitely going to lose money, and I can't wait to see Kathleen Kennedy get the boot because of it. I'm excited. Wait, let's see where this poll ended. Never got it up to 69. 66. Nice. 66 executed the order on this poll. 66% think that if Kathleen Kennedy is fired, the Rey movie will be canceled. I think that's just kind of wishful dreaming there. I don't know. But we'll see. We shall see. Until then, may the Force be with you. Always, 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 always. What a great stream. What a great show. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for sticking around. You guys are so awesome. And I can't wait to stream again on Saturday, where we'll talk about some other fun stuff as well. Have a great rest of your evenings. Have a great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Yeah.